wasn't right. There was definitely something there. I couldn't even explain what it was.
Many of the sightings have never been reported because the people that see them aren't comfortable in reporting them.
I know without a doubt that what happened to me is happening to other people.
And we're talking about a 12th century building here that's seen a lot of war and a lot of bloodshed over time. I've done a lot of filming in Australia, especially at a lot of old locations, a lot of old places. At one point in time, there was another country there that was waiting for me to explore. It was a great team. I picked a good team, and I thought, well, let's do this together. You know, the three of us, let's go on this road trip to explore Hungary, the unseen side of Hungary.
For a paranormal investigator, it's a haven. It's untapped.
Europe has just such an amazing history, and honestly, it's an urban explorer's dream.
We followed Matilda's niece and her boyfriend. Again, in the middle of nowhere. It was on an acreage. It was very overgrown. It was a beautiful mansion though. It was big.
Just careful. See that beam? It came out of the roof and fell through this floor and took all this out with it.
So badly dilapidated that some rooms you can't go in. The beams have fallen through the ceiling and they're massive. They're like tree trunks, they're huge.
The next step that you take, you just don't know what's going to happen. This place is really in the middle of nowhere, you know, amongst all this massive forest next to the Danube.
Behind it.
This is creepy.
I thought I heard footsteps outside. I thought I heard them before when we were upstairs, but I just thought it was someone walking around, like one of our team members.
Well, there's nobody here, nobody else here.
Yeah, I know, that's what worries me.
We actually separated at one point, trying to get a perspective of this hole in the ceiling. The piece of material just come down from the roof.
When we're upstairs, this room that's right above us, we were walking around, I could hear it creaking and moving as we were walking.
I was very lucky, you know, a metre or two, and that thing could have hit me in the head. There you go. De azután nem veszélyes.
I wouldn't stay under that. Actually, yeah. we shouldn't really be in here.
Yeah, like I said, mate, I wouldn't walk up there because that hole, not just the stairs, but the whole foundation there is moving. The sun's almost down.
So we set up a voice recorder at the top of a staircase and we'll just ask some questions.
Csináljon hangokat, hogy tudjuk, hogy itt van. Oké. Itt valami kopog. I'm getting some taps coming from up here.
There's taps?
Yeah.
Leave the camera rolling, leave the voice recorder, leave 10 minutes, come back. Because the mosquitoes are just too much.
There were so many mosquitoes there. It sounded like you're in a beehive. It was ridiculous.
We had to get out of there because the mosquito situation was probably one of the worst we've ever had. This is crazy. I mean, when you're silent there, all you can hear is this continuous humming Got some drench coats and whatnot to cover up a bit more. Hopefully we'll have more luck for stage 2. Unbeknownst to us, as we're asking these questions, there's actually noise coming from above us.
Behind me, like someone was standing behind me.
It feels weird. Az utolsó szoba? Aha.
The one on the other side.
Yep. This side, down this level, but the far end.
Yeah, alright, let's go.
Az úgy érzi, mint nincs itt szúnyogok. Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Van itt bent valaki velünk?
Wasn't right. There was definitely something there. I couldn't even explain what it was.
There was someone standing next to me between Daniel and me. But there was no one there. I got pretty creeped out.
It was 17 years ago. I was living at Kurrajong Heights, which is at the other end of the Blue Mountains from where we are now. And it was just after a big bushfire had gone through the area. And I walked to an end of a fire trail to look into the valley to see how it had been regenerating. I saw movement, a movement attracted my attention, and I looked down and there I saw a very large black cat. We've seen panthers on TV and in the zoo, and I had immediate recognition that this thing was a very large black panther. I looked there for a while and realised that the stories I'd heard about a black panther being up at Kurrajong Heights was in fact correct, and ever since then I've been very interested in the panthers that live in the Blue Mountains. I'm very interested in the paranormal. I've written a couple of books in the field of the paranormal, and I'm very interested in cryptozoology as well, particularly stories about black panthers and yowies that might live in the Blue Mountains where I live. Kind of the top of the valley from where we are, where we live. So anything out there has got a direct line to come to our place. Whether they can only traverse on the ridges, I suggest they can't. I mean, I've seen them. I saw that one at Kurrajong Heights, which is over on the farther north in the valley, on the valley floor. So I don't think anything's really stopping them from travelling anywhere around here. And for those people who say it's nonsense and these things would have been discovered by now, I just want everyone to see what is in front of us here. This is impenetrable bush. Sometimes in the bush here there's not much to eat, so I guess they're curious. There's something that attracts them on the interface between the bushland and civilization that every so often they come in and have a look and maybe go again. So we're going to head back now and set up a night investigation at the back of my place and see if we can capture whatever stalked me that night. Maybe it's still there. I hope it's still there. People have been walking on fire trails, often in the daytime. They don't necessarily have to be out at night, and they see a panther walk across their trail. Again, there's no ambiguity in what these things are. People always say that you've mistaken a panther for a domestic cat or a dog or possum or a kangaroo or something, which is ridiculous because these things are irrefutably a large black panther or leopard of that size. A few years ago, I was walking my dog at night down the road through what is a hanging swamp. You can imagine being here in pitch blackness, which we are now, and hearing a bit of a scrabble on the ground. That's what I heard. I looked around. It was an unusual black shape on the blackness of the fire trail. And that's the shape that moved across diagonally to me to get closer to me, but still within distance to perhaps strike. I then started yelling at it to go away. I told it to back off in a very forceful voice. But we had a standoff, and after it bounced off, I moved away. So we're here, and I haven't been back at night since then because you just don't come out here at night because it's the edge of the bush, and that's their place, and we live on our place, and this is the liminal space that separates us. Straight ahead, there's nothing out there. Mount Tomar has no lights on it, so we can't see it from here anyway. But you saw that too, haven't you? Yeah. There's a bright star, and it was there for a while, and it stopped. It just gone. It's intriguing. I've always thought there was lights out here at night sometimes, but ahead.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, guys. I heard something. Right in there. It sounded like a pig. You know when a pig makes that low growling type, not even a grunt, it's just a growling type sound. Do we have any pigs out here, Tony? No pigs. All right.
But I was too busy worrying about this, so I heard something to my left.
Yeah, that's right. We keep vigilant.
Absolutely. There are a lot more sightings of them than you would expect, and many of the sightings have never been reported because the people that see them aren't comfortable in reporting them. One day, you're out, walking or bike riding or whatever you want to do on one of these fire trails, and one of these things will cross your path, and who do you tell? What do you tell your friends? I saw a black panther. Well, they don't exist. Well, I tell you what, I've seen one. They exist.
I had my first experience when I was about 7 years old on a neighbour's roof in Lebanon. We have flat roofs on the coast, there's no tiled roofs and so on, so we go up there, it's like a playground for us. So as we stepped onto the roof, I walk in and all these kids are frozen like mannequins, like no one's moving. I thought, I'm the last one here, and this is a trick, this is a game we're playing, So I walked up to them and I tried to tickle them. I wanted to see their eyes move, because to me they were like mannequins, they weren't moving at all, nothing, not even, you couldn't even see a glitter in their eyes, it was just gone. I looked up and I saw an egg-shaped object, big as, the closest car I could resemble it to that I knew one of the neighbours had was a VW bug, and it was about that size, and it was hovering about 20 metres above us. And imagine an egg with the pointy end up, and it was tilted on like a 45-degree angle, you could say, and I could see at the front of this object, vehicle, whatever you want to call it, was a oval screen, but tinted like a TV screen when you switch it off and it's dark. But I could see two figures in there. I could see the silhouette of two figures, and they were very, very thin and very tall. and they were looking directly at us, and in particular at me. Like I could see that both of them were focused towards me. And next thing I remember, bang, we're all downstairs on the bottom landing. There's 3 or 4 of us sitting down on the stairs, and the rest of us standing around, like hanging on the railing or standing there. And the first thing we started asking each other was, how did we get here? We were up on the roof. That was our last memory. And parents come in and they're like, where have you been? And we're like, up on the roof. And they're like, whack, got a little smack on the butt. Where have you been? We're like, we're up on the roof. Another smack. Every time we actually got asked and we said we're on the roof, we got in trouble. And one of the parents said, you couldn't have been on the roof. We've been looking for you for 3 hours and we're calling out to you. If you were there, you would have heard us. When they researched the book and write the book and the case and so on, they spoke to my mum, which she'd never, ever mentioned in my whole life. And she said, yeah, when I was younger, we used to see what they called flying plates. And she said, but our parents would always tell us they're Israeli spy planes.
Now, Peter, I understand that your next experience happened in 1988.
Yes.
What happened?
1988, look, I was living on my own for about 5 years, and 1988, I moved back home with my parents. I had been living there for about 7 months, I'd say, maybe 8 months. One night I was sitting down with my dad and we were watching TV, and it would have been around 11 o'clock at night. My brother, who was asleep, my oldest brother, Sam, he was asleep in my bedroom, and he walked out and he looked a bit dazed, to me. He wasn't all there, and he actually said, can you go and watch TV in your room? I want to sleep out here. So I said, yeah, not a problem. So I went in my room. I sat down on my bed, and as I went to lay back on the pillow, I instantly felt something grab me around my ankles. So I'm looking at the foot of the bed at the end of my bed, and I can see a creature, like a gorilla in a monk's robe with the hood over its head. I noticed 2 more beings on exactly the same, on the right side of my bed, and they were probably 3, maybe 4 foot in height, 3.5, 4 foot in height. And I thought, oh my God, this is the devil, this is evil. I'm dying and I'm going to hell, And then as I'm stressing out and I'm sweating, with the corner of my eye on the left side of the bed, I noticed 2 other creatures or beings, but they were taller, much taller. I'm talking 7 foot in height, very slim, very like almost tubular-like arms, but they had the oval-shaped heads, big almond-shaped eyes, black eyes. For some reason, I connected into its eyes, and it was just looking through this black void, and I honestly started to feel a lot calmer. I had this feeling that I know this being's person, whatever you want to call them. And as I'm looking in his eyes, I hear telepathic communication in my head, and it's not like I'm hearing voices in my head. It was a feeling, it was a knowing. They were communicating with me, and he was saying to me, calm down, relax, we're not going to harm you. It'd be like the last time, relax, we're not going to harm you. And here I am thinking, what bloody last time? What are you talking about, And then I see him holding, it looked like he was holding them in fingers like that, and it was like a syringe or a tube with a flexible, almost like an optic fibre with a light at the tip of it. And he's saying, calm down, relax, we're not going to harm you. And I'm like, okay, calming down. And then bang, right there, I feel something touch my head, and I could see what he was doing, so I could see it coming in. And he's inserted it in, and I didn't feel any pain at all, but I blacked out. Now, I woke up, what I thought was about 15 minutes later, and I sprung out of bed, walked into the TV room and tried to wake up my dad, who was, as I walked in the door, he was to my left. Tried to wake him up, and I couldn't wake up my dad. So I turned around, my brother's sitting in a chair, and I'm like, Sam, wake up. And I couldn't wake him up, so I slapped him 3 times, really hard too. And he's woken up, and as he's sitting in the chair, the first thing he says was, and he said it in Arabic, he goes, I feel like I've been switched off. So we look at the time, and it was like 2:45, and it was 11:15 when all this, went into my room.
Now, there's a book that was written about you called Hear of the Alien.
Yes.
That's about a completely different experience, which I understand happened later after this 1988 encounter that you had.
Yeah. That was 1992, and it was in this house here. We were going through a horror period for, about 3-4 months. We lost about 11 people through that year. I was on a job site in Marrickville, There were people working there, they used my equipment without permission and so on. I got attacked, I got stabbed, I had a bottle broken on my arm, which damaged my arm really bad. I got hit on the head with a shovel twice. After that incident, July of that, this happened in May. So in July, I come home, open the door. Now this is 7 in the morning. So I went into bed, put the quilt over me. I was feeling a bit, vomiting now. I thought, oh shit, cover up. And within a couple of minutes, I felt something sit on the bed. I sit up to look up, and right sitting straddled on top of me is a female, a blonde female, very attractive looking. It wasn't human features, it was a lot of differences to just the bone structure, the face, the length of the nose. And then on the right side of the bed, I see an Asian female. Her eyes were more so black. I hardly saw in her white, a little bit maybe. When she moved her eyes, I saw a little bit of white. And as I sat up, it was my astral body. It sat up before me, and I could see a clear image of me. I could see me, I knew it was me, and it was this clear image, and I could see the female through that. And then as I'm looking, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then my body caught up, and I became one again. The instant that happened, she cupped the back of my head with both her hands like that and brought me to her breast, to her left breast. I put my hands out, so I touched her, I felt her, and I pushed away, and I was able to push away. The second time she did it, she pulled my head to her breast with a bit more force, and I was able to still push away a little bit. And then the third time, she just buried my face into her breast and held it there. Someone said, oh, I must be like a sexual animal or something. Mate, she buried my face in her breast. I couldn't breathe. My best defense system was take a little nip. And I was able to push away. I think it shocked her a little bit. But there was no blood. I didn't see her bleeding. But I felt something go in the back of my throat. It was like a piece of flesh. But she looks straight over at the Asian one, and I could pick up telepathically, and it was, he's done this wrong, something's gone wrong, this has gone wrong, it's not like the last time. And here I am again thinking, what's this last time? Like, where? I don't have a memory of this thing. I start coughing now. There's a lot of communication going through my head. It's going a million miles an hour, but I can understand every single thing that's going through there. And it's things about personal future and things about, especially when she taps her stomach and goes like that. And I start having this coughing fit, and I look up and they're vanished, gone. So I walk into the kitchen, I'm drinking water, I've got Lebanese bread. I had the urge to go to the bathroom and pee. So I walk into the bathroom, and as soon as I tried to pee, it felt like my private part was slashed with razors. What I see are two hairs. One was sort of half wrapped around, and the other one was like an S, it was like a curl, but they were embedded. So I've taken these hairs out, and I'm crying. I'm in excruciating pain as I'm doing it. And I put them in a plastic bag, I sealed it, I put a note on it, put a staple through it straight away. I put the note, the date, what happened. I got a phone call one day from Bill Chalker, and he said, look, I've got some scientists.
Just for the folks back at home,
yeah.
Can we talk a little bit who Bill is?
Bill Chalker is a UFO researcher. He has a chemist background. I reckon he's one of the best researchers in the country in that he's thorough, he does his work. I got a phone call from Bill, and he said to me, look, I got some CSIRO scientists who are challenging us and want to do the test. And they said, if you think your case is real, you'll do it. And I said, yeah, mate, let's go for it. When the test results came back, it just blew everyone out, like it blew me out more than anyone. And they said, look, what we're finding is the root of the hair has rare Basque Chinese mitochondrial DNA, which is blonde, Scandinavian looking, blue eyes. And the shaft of the hair had the rarest Chinese mitochondrial DNA, which at the time they said were like only 4 people had similar but not the same. When they did the second phase of the DNA testing, they found that there was through nuclear DNA testing, they found a CCR5 gene deletion, And if you don't have that gene in your system, you're not susceptible to any sexually transmitted diseases. There's things I'm telling you, I haven't spoken to anyone about this, but eventually it's been nearly, you know, we're talking 92, sorry, telepathic communication. I was told things, but I'm not ready to talk about it, and maybe I don't want to, you know. But she did tell me that I would hear from her. Like when I heard her, I would know it's her, and that has happened. And it happened 14 years later, and I heard her voice say to me, "Your daughter is beautiful," 3 times. And this came 14 years later, so I'm assuming this kid is 14 years old. And then I've had another thing where I've heard her voice and she like recited something to me as if something you would recite to a child. And there was tones to it that I remember, but a language I've never heard before, mate. It was like some ancient language from somewhere. And there were words like ununu nahu, anu inahu, stuff like that. And I made notes. I wrote a couple of them as I remembered them. I know without a doubt that what happened to me is happening to other people. And the reason I went public and I started the support group and I spoke about this is to connect with the people who were like me, making phone calls, trying to understand, and no one wants help.
Got the grand plan of what you're going to do, but sometimes you just stumble across things and I'll go check it out. So we're driving along this country road and it's very windy, very dangerous, look like we're in the middle of nowhere.
There it is, look at that.
Wow.
Left.
We sort of see in the distance this big castle looking thing. We'll go check that out.
És most kezdődik a játék!
We walked through and we were really impressed. It was the original base of it's the original castle, the original walls. And we're talking about a 12th century building here that's seen a lot of war and a lot of bloodshed over time. This place was just screaming out to us to investigate.
We managed to contact the Vaarkapitaan, or the castle captain, and he came down and he spoke to us, and we managed to make a deal with him, and he would let us in after dark.
Yes, we have negotiated access. Jó.
Yeah, I think we should go up that staircase. It felt a little bit creepy before.
So we put the voice recorder at the bottom of the stairs and we go, okay, we'll go up to the top of the castle, we'll just see what happens. Maybe it'll catch something.
What we didn't realise is that while we were up there, stuff was happening downstairs.
This is creepy. In the EVP recording, we also notice that there's something that's closing a door. You can hear this creaking sound of a door closing. What's doing that? Lökjön fel valamit, húzzon valamit, ahogy nem áll rendbe. Szerintem az ülés ott nem áll rendbe. Legyen szíves még egyszer próbálj megismételni, mert alig hallottuk. Amíg a kezünkben vannak, nem fegyverek. Ezek fölveszik a képet, amit körülöttünk van. You say this?
Oh my god. It's moving.
There's no breezing here, right? I can't feel anything.
No, there's nothing. Like, no, there's,
I'm sitting in the stairwell.
there's no windows, no drafts, nothing.
In the corner of my eye, I can see the chain starting to move. That place has something there. There is definitely some kind of activity that's going on in there.
We were locked in a compound and it was only us. There's only one door in, one door out. We couldn't even get out. That chain just starts swinging on its own. There's no wind, there's no nothing. Nothing moved that. We weren't even near it. Sometimes you can use an explanation to explain anything, you know. Oh, it was this, oh, it was that. I got nothing there. I got nothing. Nothing could have moved that chain. Nothing could have made those noises. We asked for a response and that's what we got.